What's going on, everybody? ForexFreeClub back. Sorry for the little hiatus. Just been getting a little busy. Had to take care of some things at work. So, yeah, we're going to get into it. 9 o'clock, looking at the market. But before we get to that, just wanted to give you guys, basically a overview of what it is that we provide here. We provide free educational signals. And with those free educational signals, we're able to, have people learn some of the basics of trading by following along for free. So you can always go to this page and, you'll be able to see, the current trades that I'm in and, overall profitability, things like that. So, yeah, make sure to check that out. And then to get into the news. So we have this article written by Russell Shore, says 2 minutes ago. It's probably updated. Inverted yield curves still a worrying recession sign. So they're using the U.S. 10-year versus the U.S. 2-year yields on a monthly, and then they got the U.S. 10-year versus the U.S. 3-month yields. So let's take a look at what they're talking about. So the bond market's recession indicator has been signaling an incoming downturn for several months, which could start this quarter. This is based on the inverted treasury yield curves, specifically the spread between the 2 to 10 yields and the spread between the 3-month and 10-year yields. Short-term yields surpassing long-term yields are a highly watched signal of an incoming recession, with the inverted 2 to 10 spread accurately predicting recessions in the past. Observations suggest that a recession usually starts 6 to 9 months after the inversion of the 2 to 10-year curve. And since those bond yields inverted in July 2022, the recession is certainly due. The 2 to 10-year curve recently experienced its deepest inversion in over 40 years, with the inversion deepening in March as the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank unfolded and a crisis of confidence in the banking sector emerged. The spread on the 3-month and 10-year yields did not react as savagely in March, but a deepening in the following weeks may connote that a recession is starting. High interest rates could easily push the economy into a downturn, and Feds officially have signaled rates are likely to remain higher for longer, which is expected to continue weighing on employment and corporate earnings, spelling trouble for stocks. A clue here will be a weakening of the labor market, which is still showing signs of resilience. Cracks may have already appeared with fewer job openings than forecast and continued jobless claims ticking up. All right. So we'll watch out for that. I do look at the yield curves every once in a while, but I haven't done so recently. So that's good to get an update on that. All right, so then let's take a look at the news. Today is NFP. So let's look at this week. All right, so yeah, NFP was at 830. Unemployment 830, and we don't have any news now currently, but we do have some news later on in the day. So yeah, we just have to see how the market is reacting to NFP. So let's share the tab first. So yeah, like I said, Friday we had NFP 830 news, but not much, until later on in the day. And then taking a look at next week's news just to see what's coming up for next week. So I only check on Fridays because Fridays are the days that I enter my trades for the most part, because I'm trading off the weekly time frame. So you guys just keep that in mind. I see export and import price index. Nothing else that seems too important. So let's take a look at the charts. All right. So I added a few pairs. I'm just watching them. I'm still only trading the USD and Swiss franc quote pairs. So I'm really just looking at everything else for correlation purposes. So Euro AUD has been pretty bullish on the weekly time frame. We did get a strong pullback this week, so possibly this could be a sell-off signal. So we'd like to see how the zones are holding. So let's draw some zones. So we'll draw zone on this bullish candle before this week. All right. And taking a look at the quarters, we just broke through the 165 quarter point. So it will be nice to see if we can get a retest of that, take it down to the 1.625. So that's my idea for that. We'll just see how next week opens up. And we'll see if we catch entry off the top. Or not an entry, but we'll just watch it. All right. So then Euro GBP has been pretty much selling already. This looks like it could be primed for a break of this trend line. Maybe we'll get a pullback up to the zero point 0.9 QP before coming back down. I would be interested to see if we would break the 0.875 because for now it's been holding as, demand or support, depending on how you look at the markets. I have my alligators on and fractals on because this was the original strategy I was trading, but it was on the 4 hour time frame. So now I'm switching to the weekly time frame just to get longer holds. And it's a little difficult to transition, but I think I'm doing okay for now. All right, so we got this break, and then we had a nice bullish reaction, created a new high, but obviously the wick high was up by the 0.925. So looking at it, price is more than likely to want to fill this wick, but I do have a bearish bias on the euro versus the GBP because I'm bullish on GBPs fundamentally. So I really will be looking to see if we go from the 0.875 down to the 0.85, but it's possible we'll get a retest of these highs before that happens. Okay, so EN, it's been pretty bullish. We did have a nice strong breakdown. This would be the zone. Yeah, so this would be the zone. So I'd be looking to see if we can pull back to 1.775. What is it? 1.775. If not, we just take a possible buy setup from 1.75 to 1.775 if we get this trend line to break, or if not, we'd wait for this trend line to break and look for a retest from the 1.75 down to the 1.725. So those are just for correlation purposes. But the baskets I trade are the AUDs, GBPs, and NZDs, mostly focusing on the USD and Swiss franc pairs because JPYs can be a little too volatile. All right, so looking at AU, we got a nice bullish push this week, but we are still overall bearish. It will be nice to see if we can finally clear this zone. I've been basically waiting for price to break out of this zone and retest this monthly zone, possibly looking for further upside. But fundamentally, the AUDs have been very weak, so it's just been moving sideways for a few months now. So it's making it very difficult to find clean setups off the weekly time frame. So we'll just wait and let price develop a little bit more. All right, so the Swiss francs have been bearish. So like I said, AUD Swiss franc has been bearish. So like I said, up fundamentally weak bias on AUDs. I believe I did catch a sell trade. Made a few pips off of AUD Swiss franc, like probably like 20 pips. Wasn't anything special. But we did get this break of trend line, so that is a good sign for bullishness in the market. So let's see how the AUDs react this week. They might be the next one setting up to turn around and give us that bullish bias like the GBPs have been pushing up. So it'll be interesting to watch AUD Swiss franc now that's at the 0.6 QP to see if we'll get to 0.625. So that'll be a nice trade idea. I'm going to draw my zone, my weekly zone here. All right. So that's AUD Swiss franc. I'm going to skip the JPYs because I'm not focusing on those. And I'm not going to be making these calls as long as possible. I'm just going to go as long as it takes me to get through everything. So the length may vary each week. But I think it'll be better to keep the videos shorter rather than longer. So GBP USD, I've been buying this and Swiss franc. Currently, I just closed my positions today, but I had a couple trades in. Let me see if I can go to my phone real quick. All right, so GU I had a 110 pip trade, and G Swish I had a 130 pip trade. So I banked a decent amount of profit on those, but overall my profitability this year has not been great. So I'm just looking to keep practicing till I'm able to get my strategy down. But I just want you guys to follow along the journey. I've been trading for some time now, but through the work and life occurrences, I haven't really been able to focus as much as I want. So I'll be doing this weekly. I apologize for the couple of weeks I've been out. I just had a lot of things going on. But yeah, so we're back now. So GBP USD, we just broke through the 1.25 QP and retested it. So that looks like a nice bullish signal for the continuation to 1.275. So if anything, if we get another retest down to the 1.25, I'd like to take a buy entry up to the 1.275 QP. But we do have to be mindful that we are showing some uh, spread on the alligator, so it's always likely that we can get a pullback down before we continue going up. So we'll watch for that. The weekly zone would be the ideal place to take our buy from, but since that's so far away, we'll just use the QPs as demand, supply and demand for now. So this was originally supply. You can see it fell here, and more recently we had a pullback and then broke through that supply. It could still just be an overshoot, so we want to be mindful that we could get that sell set up from the 1.25 back down to the 1.225 for that pullback before possibly going up. All right, so GBP Swiss franc, I was able to catch the buy, but we have been consolidating for months now. So it's really hard to tell if this is really going to be a bullish reversal because we've been winding down, down, down. It's looking like some type of flag pattern. I don't really trade patterns, but I would be looking to see if we can take it from the 1.125 up to the 1.150. Any uh, sell trades would be coming from up here. Any buy trades would be coming from possibly down here. This would be the best place to buy from, but like we're in the middle right now, in an uptrend. So we'll see if this QP holds its demand, and if it does, then we be looking to see if we can get a break retest of the alligators before going up. So I decided to put the alligators back on just because I do like them on the weekly time frame just to keep everything in line, and it also gives you the market structure bias. So right now you can see that we're in consolidation because it's yellow, and then when we're in trending markets, it'll have one consistent color. So that's been pretty much how I've been looking at the market. We're mostly in consolidation, but we are looking to start a new trend. Just to go back through AUDs, bearish trend, and then AUD USD is consolidating but still bearish. So looking at the NZDs, same as the AUDs, it's pretty much consolidating, but they are trying to make a new trend. So we broke market structure here, so we started a bullish trend, hit the monthly supply zone, immediately came back down. This weekly zone that I put here was based off of this price action tapping into the zone. There really wasn't a valid order block zone that I could use, so I just used the wick of this candle because that's still technically demand. So we've been reacting off that zone. We actually got the setup uh, to buy for that little reversal buy on the 17th, that the week of the 17th. So at the end of that week, we could have taken a buy, and it would have been a nice little reversal off the demand, even though price is consolidating sideways. And then NZD Swiss franc, it's very similar to AUD Swiss franc, but except the trend didn't extend as long. We just broke below previous lows, so that could have been a liquidity grab. You can see that the reaction bullish was very strong. I've been looking at this play for a while off of this quarter point, the 0.55 quarter point. I've been watching it for a while, looking for this bullish reaction. I was able to catch this trade. And let me see if I can look at my phone and see what I caught on that trade. I have a couple demo accounts that I'm trading on, and then a small live account that I'm trading on. So I don't really post any of my trades, like, on social media anymore. That's why I have the Signals account, so you guys can follow my trades there. All right, so I'm in NZD USD for a buy. It's up 146 pips. And then I got demo trades on GBP Swiss franc as well, 164 pips, and then GBP USD 155 pips. But I'm trying to find the NZD trade. Okay, so the NZD Swiss franc trade was on the demo account. I had a small win of about 70 pips, so that's not too bad. Yeah, so it's not too bad, 70 pips. All right, so let's look at the crypto. Bitcoin's been bullish. As you can see, we got that alligator fractal signal for the buy. So we'd be interested to see if this bullishness will continue. Let me take the quarter points off. We'll see if this bullishness will continue. It looks like it is possibly getting ready to sell down off of the 3,000 price. So that could be the quarter point that we're using as potential supply, which would make our quarter point of interest for the buy the 27,500 price. So that's a pretty small QP range, but Bitcoin is pretty volatile at times. So we'll see how it reacts. It might use that to 27,500 as demand and break through the 3,000 level to continue going up, or it could possibly retest lower. We do have imbalance here, so we also need to be mindful of that. Price could also poke back into the imbalance and then move up, something similar to what it did right here. So we had this imbalance here. Price moved up, chopped around, came back, poked into the imbalance, and then moved up higher to break the structure. So we can look and see if something like that will happen again. All right, so Ethereum, similar to Bitcoin, but we had a little bit more of a pullback on that first candle. Then we started chopping sideways. So it's hard to tell what price is going to do when we have indecision candles like this. So we'll just leave it alone for now until we either get a push a little lower, and then maybe we could look for the buy, or if we get a retest a little bit higher, then we can look for the sell. All right, so SPX had a massive dump this week. It looks like it was seeking liquidity in this imbalance here. We got a nice little retest play to the alligators, but as you can see, we're primarily consolidating, even though we do have the form of a bullish trend, the formation of a bullish trend happening since October 22. So we'll be looking for that next higher low to then enter. So something like this, we can't really use that first candle necessarily as an entry. We'd have to wait and see if we can pull back to lower prices. So we possibly be looking at this area here as a demand zone, and anywhere that price breaks a trend line that we can draw, that would be nice to watch. But I don't really trade the indices, crypto or metals. I really just watch them for correlation and for my fundamental bias. Give me 1 second. All right, so NASDAQ, we're starting to chop sideways as well. It looks like it's possible that we'll get a pullback before continuation. So we'll watch for that on the weekly time frame. The lower time frames that I use are the daily and the 4-hour, but I do my weekly analysis on the weekly time frame just to keep things simple and straightforward. I don't want to get too much into how I find my entries and stuff like that. All right, and then gold has been super bullish. It looks like it's getting ready. Well, it's actually consolidating up, which is interesting to note. We do have this previous high that we just basically tapped into, so that's giving us some type of supply. So it's possible that we'll continue, climbing up slowly until we find true supply and possibly get a pullback. But for now, it doesn't really look like it's giving signs of a pullback because we are still breaking structure higher. Yeah, we closed where we're possibly going to close above this previous high. So we'll see what happens with that. And then silver, we just cleared the previous high, so very similar. We will most likely close above this high today, and we can see that we have something similar where the supply is up here. We've been going down, caught that bearish trend, going up, caught that bullish trend, and we're still in the bullish trend. So we'll see if price creates a higher low at any point, and we'll look for better pricing on silver because it's a little too overextended right now to be looking for buys. I'd rather wait for price to pull back. I do trade more like an investing style. I'm not really a short-term trader, so I'm trying to get into longer swings, and I'm comfortable taking the losses to get into those better price entries. So taking a note at the volatility index, the VIX had a massive reaction. So that means that volatility is entering the market. So that's, good if you're looking for a price to move more pips on certain pairs, but it could be bad, if you're looking for more consistent setups, more volatility might make it harder for you to catch your setups, but it will help, in terms of how many pips you make. So fundamentally, I was drawing these prices on here. Probably should have took it off, but I just wanted to have a better idea where the swing highs and swing lows were. So we created a lower low here, created a lower high here. So the bond yields are looking bearish. That is also supporting my fundamental bias of selling the AUDs. So we'll see if it'll roll over and break this low, and that will definitely start signaling a bearish trend for the Australian government bond yields. Our GBP bond yields have been bullish, but we've been consolidating sideways. So basically looking for bounces to the low would be ideal for setups for GBP bullishness. But overall, the trending market supports my fundamental bias of GBPs being stronger. NZDs, they're in the middle. Like I'm saying, they're bullish, but it is creating lower lows. Well, this is kind of almost like the equal low, but to me, yeah, it's pretty much equal low. So this is very hard to decide what NZDs are trying to do right now. I believe just because we're at this low, I would look for a bullish idea. You can see we have these 3 weeks of selling and we haven't really gone anywhere. So that's in supporting my NZD Swiss franc trade idea for the buy of the, I believe it was the 0.55 QP. So I'll be watching that, in the next couple of weeks to see if we're going to break the high of this candle, maybe the close of next week. I'll be entering NZD Swiss franc buys, regardless of what quarter point it's at. We'll see what happens. All right, so Australian dollar index is supporting a bearish idea. Great British pound currency index is supporting a bullish fundamental bias. And then the NZDs is pretty much consolidating. You can see that we have this low, equal lows. We're not really bearish yet. We had this bullish reaction. We're still technically at a higher low. So, and we have this nice push. So that's really supporting that NZD bias for the longs, but we'll see. JPY baskets, I just like to keep in mind when the JPYs are gaining strength versus losing strength, because when they're gaining strength, it's going to make it harder for the pairs that I'm trading correlation-wise to move. But when they're losing strength, it'll make it easier for them to move. So I like to see when it's getting fundamentally weaker. As you can see, we were bullish until we broke this low. So now we're starting to possibly form a bearish bias, but we're in consolidation until we have a real break of the trend. I believe when it breaks, well, I'm not sure when exactly it would turn bearish for the structure break. It could be at this low. It could be after breaking this low. So we'll see what happens. Okay, in the futures, this is all just for fundamental bias. I'm pretty much looking at the same chart 3 times when it comes to the bond deals, the index, and the futures. but I just like to look at all three just to solidify my biases. So everything is still lining up the way that I've been saying. AUDs are looking bearish. NZDs are kind of consolidating but having a slightly bullish bias, and then the GBPs have been strongly bullish for a while. So let me just check to see if I have any comments. All right, doesn't look like I have any comments. All right. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna end the call there. I'm looking at possibly buys on GBP Swiss franc. Let's take a look at what setups I would be interested in. Yeah, so buys on GBP Swiss franc would be interesting to see, just because we did have this nice little break of the bearish trend. So technically, this week was a retest, and we could see if price will move higher. I'm still liking NZD Swiss franc buys as well. This is officially the break, so we'll look for a retest next week possibly, or you could just enter today, which would be the close of this week, hoping that we don't break below the low of the candle, or reverse our structure. So yeah, that's pretty much it. The end of the week open, or well, not New York session on Fridays is really when I'd like to enter for the volatility. But we always have to be mindful to keep our stop loss wide enough that in case we do get a nice strong retest into the candle, we'd still be able to be clear of getting our stop losses hit and before price turns around, using the momentum. So I know this is a counter trend idea, but I'm only doing it because I have the support of the QPs, as well as we just cleared their previous low, and it looks like it might have been a stop hunt for liquidity before price makes its final move. So I'll be looking at those pairs primarily, and then I'll just be watching AUD USD and AUD Swiss franc to see if they continue selling off. They might be up next for bullishness, but there's nothing fundamentally convincing me of that. But I will be watching it with my team. So hopefully next week we'll get an update on that. And thank you guys for attending the call this week. Make sure to tune in next week. I will be back. I do apologize for the couple weeks that I had to take off, just because I was dealing with some personal things. So you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you next Friday.